Welcome everybody for coming to our annual Title I meeting tonight. We are glad you could join us virtually. We're going to talk about Title I at the elementary school. And some people are like, well, what is Title I? And Title I is actually federal funds that come down to schools to help students succeed. And Early County Elementary School is a school-wide Title I school. Title I funds provide several different things, such as professional learning, technology, staff, different things like that. And you'll hear more about that as we go along. Title I requires that children have a significant opportunity to receive a fair, equitable, and high quality education and to close educational achievement gaps. So Dr. Culliford, I'm going to let you talk about goals, or Ms. Childs, either one, talk about the goals that the elementary school has and their school improvement plan.
Okay, I'll take the goals portion. We still have to take the state mandated test, which is called the Georgia Milestones, and part of our intervention plan and a lot of the resources that we use are designed to help students show growth on those tests and ultimately, quote, pass those tests. So as you can see on the screen here, the end of this year's goal, 22-23, is for 63% of our students to score to level 2 in grades 3 through 5 on the milestones. By the end of 22-23, 85% will score at level 2 on the math portion. Now those numbers for ELA may seem low, but also remember that we're coming off a 2.5 year interruption, and when students were out of school at the end of the 1920 year, and then the interruptions that we had in 2021, scores took a pretty big hit, and we're in the process of recovering that learning loss or working through that. So that's why that goal is at 63% for ELA. Math, however, for our school has historically been a strength, and it remains so even through the pandemic. Our kids in Early County do really well at math. That's just something that seems to come almost naturally to them. So we're thankful for that, but we still have things in place for them as well to help them continue that high growth or high rate of achievement. Goals 3 and 4, the end of 22-23, increase attendance rate by 2% in grades K-5, and to also decrease office referrals by 10%. First thing, with attendance, we're sending out, we have a automated messenger that goes out whenever children are absent. We also have letters that go when they reach certain thresholds, 5 unexcused absences, 7, and then 10 or more. And I will say, just looking at our attendance this school year, we're averaging about 92% as an average daily attendance rate, which is much higher than it has been the past 2 years. 3 years ago, however, our average daily attendance was around 96%. So we still got a ways to go, but we're certainly heading in the right direction. More students are coming to school. Parents are seem to be less fearful about their children coming as we get on the other side of the pandemic. The discipline referrals, we began a program this year, a social emotional learning program called Capturing Kids' Hearts, where we are working with children, trying to understand the reason misbehaviors may occur and what we can do as an intervention before it gets to the office. That began in July, so I'm going now. And I will say, just anecdotally, we have much fewer office referrals this year than we've had in the past couple of years. We've had fewer referrals as a result of the pandemic, but our numbers this year are looking great as far as kids being in the classroom and not being sent out for behavior issues.
Oh, that is awesome. Glad to hear that.
Yep.
All right. You want me to move it on to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to talk about the things that Title I helps with at the school?
Okay, we've got a number of programs in place that address the areas of reading and math. There you see them on the screen: Lexia, Reading Plus, I Learn, Vocabulary, Dibbles. All students have access to these programs, and we use them to not only monitor progress, but also identify the areas where there may be deficits and strengths. So we use those programs to identify the kids that may need most support. And after a certain period of time, they go into the tiered process where students are labeled as either tier 2 or tier 3 in math and ELA and behavior. And they are assigned an intervention teacher who provides targeted instructions at first to a group of students. And then if the student is not making progress, it becomes more of a individualized intervention so that they can be successful in the classroom. Our goal ultimately is for 80% of our students to be successful in the classroom without any interventions. We're not quite there yet, but we are making progress with those intervention teachers in place. We also have a language coach that does professional development with our teachers. She really heads up the Right Score program that we have in place, which gives very clear feedback to the teachers about what strengths their students have in writing. And there's also some great lessons that go along with that as well. We've been blessed to be able to have Chromebooks for every student. We do keep them in the building. They don't go home yet, but we do have that access for daily Chromebook use K through 5. Bobcat Block is not on the calendar or on the schedule as it has been in the past, but we do allow our teachers to have certain times of the day as needed to provide those instructions or additional support. It may take place during recess. It may take place during connections as needed. But we don't leave our kids out to dry. We do provide those on the spot interventions that are short of going to an intervention teacher. These are just differentiation or some reteaching so that students are successful.
That sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would y'all like to talk about the curriculum the elementary school utilizes?
Ms. Pam, you want to speak on?
We do. All of our classes are structured around the Georgia Standards of Excellence. Our standards, every grade and every subject has the Georgia Standards of Excellence, and that is what our teachers use to structure all of the classes. We do have other programs that go along with that. We have a reading program called Wonders. We also, as in the last slide, use Lexia. We have happy numbers for math. And so we use some additional things, but we do structure all of our classes around the Georgia standards.
Okay, that sounds great. And we'll talk about how parents can access those standards in another slide. So what about assessments? Can y'all speak to the assessments that students take?
Our students do take the milestones in grades 3 through 5. And you see there, we have the end of grade milestones for language arts and math in 3, 4, and 5. And then in 5th grade, they also take the science milestones. In kindergarten, our students are assessed in the GKids program, and that is a set of standards that the teachers make sure that the students are working towards.
Okay.
That's what I can.
The WIDA access, I believe that is for EL students, which is English language learners. Is that correct?
That's correct. And we currently don't have any students that are being assessed using WIDA or who are coded as EL at this point. So as of today, that doesn't apply, but it certainly will should someone transfer into the district tomorrow or to the school.
Okay. So I would like to talk about the parent and family engagement plans and compact. Those were sent home electronically. You could request a hard copy, and you still can. You just need to contact me, and I'll be glad to get that for you. The parent and family engagement plan and the school parent compact, as well as the school improvement plan for the Early County Elementary School, can be found on the district website. If you go to the Early County School System website and then navigate to the federal programs page, all of those are available there. Those are put together with feedback from parents and staff during the spring of the prior year for the upcoming year. So we always have those available for you to look at, as well as the school improvement plan. Also, just to note that Title I does require that 1% of the Title I budget is set aside for parent involvement. In the Early County school system, we take that 1% with the agreement of the elementary and the middle school and use it at the district level. This year, that 1% is going to provide Remind, which is our main communication tool that we use with parents. So I just wanted to make sure you're aware of what we're utilizing that funding for this school year. And also you received notice at the beginning of the year of the parents' right to know. If the parents have rights to know if a teacher meets state qualifications and licensing criteria, if they're under a provisional or emergency status, if they're teaching in a field of discipline of certification, and if a child is provided services by a paraprofessional, you have the right to know the qualifications of our staff. So just want to make sure if you want to know that information, you can contact the elementary school.
Ms. Hammy, if I can jump in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Parents, if you happen to receive one of those letters that says your child's teacher does not currently meet those qualifications, please know that we're aware of that, the teacher's aware of it, and we're working together to make sure they get the proper certifications. It certainly does not mean that your child's teacher is any less than another teacher on there. We try to hire the best and most caring teachers, and some of them have a little work to do as far as checking the right boxes as far as the state and federal government goes. But just know that your kids are in great hands here, no matter who their child's teacher is.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. The letter that we send out in certain cases is called the 20-day letter, and those are required by law to be sent to parents to notify them if a teacher is not certified in a specific area under a certain situation and criteria, and it just reflects certification. It doesn't reflect skill or expertise in any area. So it just actually reflects whether they're certified or not, but they are all working towards the correct certification. Would you not agree with that statement, Mr. Cole?
Yeah, very well said.
Okay, great. So in Dr. Culliford and Ms. Childs, y'all can come in on this too, but in the last couple of years, we've not really had a college and career ready performance index, which is called the CCRPI. I believe they're working to get the CCRPI back up. For last year, they have not completed that yet, and it will be in consideration of what we've been through the last couple of years. Is that not correct, Dr. Culliford?
The last report card or CCRPI score that's not affected, or I don't want to say tainted, but tainted by COVID and the school interruptions, would be the one we received in the spring of 2019. So we're almost 4 years, 3.5 out from having a score from the state. So
Right.
They're certainly working on changing that to see what it'll look like and putting things in place, I'm sure, to reflect what we've been through these past few years.
Okay. You can always find the CCRPI or the school's report card on the Georgia DOE website, and there is a link to that on the school's website as well, on the federal programs page. So you can find it there if you're ever interested in going to see what that is. And then I do want to let parents know about Infinite Campus. If you don't have a parent portal, you can always sign up for that. There are online instructions. If you go to the school system's website and you go to the district drop-down menu, there's central registrar, and then if there's a little triangle by it, and you can click on it, and it'll take you to the parent portal page, and there are just instructions, step-by-step instructions to set up your account. Or you can contact our system registrar by sending an email to the help desk, which is helpdesk@early.k12.ga.us, and asking them to help you set up your parent portal account. In the parent portal account, you can have real-time access to your child's grades and attendance. You also have access to SLDS, which is the statewide longitudinal data system. And in that, you can see I have in the box down at the bottom, it has several different boxes. The first one says performance. If you click on that, you can view your child's performance in Georgia schools from kindergarten on up. And see how they've done on their tests, what their grades were 2 years ago. It keeps a running tab of information about your child's history in Georgia schools. Also, in that, if you click on your child's current schedule, which it also provides a current schedule for your child, you can click on your child's current schedule and get access to the Georgia performance standards for your child's classes or class. And in that, you can click down to a particular standard if your child's having difficulty with a particular standard. And SLDS gives you resources to utilize, online resources to help your child with that particular standard. So it's a very good resource for parents to use and for students to use as well. If you have any questions about that, you can always contact me. I'll be glad to help you. Dr. Culliford, is there anything else, or Ms. Childs, that y'all would like to add?
I don't have anything at this time.
Okay, Ms. Childs?
No, ma'am.
Okay, well, that's our information tonight. And if you have any questions, there's my contact and Dr. Culliford's contact. Feel free to contact us anytime. We'll be glad to help you. Thank you for coming.